Pi is 3.14159265, but you came here for Pocket Ronnie, so please stay tuned.
Okay, now we're going to be solving the unknown with getting rid of decimals. Alright, so in both of my problems, my unknown is still x. It can be any letter. Again, in algebra, there are several different ways you can do this. You can work with the decimals if you want, but I'm going to show you a way of getting rid of the decimals. That way you're just working with whole numbers and not decimals. The first thing you need to do is look at how many decimal places each term has. This has 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places. You will be multiplying each of these terms by a multiple of 10. Either 10, 100, 1,000, maybe I should say a factor of 10. 1,000, 10,000. It's either going to be one of these, 10, 100, 1,000, at least with the problems in this curriculum. Well, a simple way that I can tell you is however many the most number of decimal places. If you look at all 3 of these, the highest decimal place is 2, because you have 2, 1, 2. So the highest decimal place is 2, or the most number of decimal places is 2. So you pick one of these numbers that has the same number of zeros. 2 decimal places is the most, so you pick 100 because it has 2 zeros. When you multiply a number that has 2 decimal places, it will move when you multiply, your decimal place moves to the right. And if you multiply by 10, it will move your decimal place to the right 1 place. If you multiply by 100, it will move your decimal over 2 times. If you multiply by 1,000, it will move your decimal place over 3 times. So however many zeros you have, that's how many your decimal places will move. If you don't believe me, just do it in your calculator just to prove it. Okay? So, with this being said, we have the most decimal places we have is 2, which means we want to multiply by 100. 100 has 2 zeros. We want to move 2 decimal places. So, we're going to multiply each one of these terms by 100. Whatever I do to one term, if I multiply by 100 to one term, I have to do it to every term in order to balance the equation. So I just show my multiplying by 100 up here, and I use parentheses to show I'm multiplying, because 4 times 5 implies multiplication. So I use parentheses to remind myself I am multiplying. I just said that multiplying by 100 will move my decimal place over 2 times. If you don't believe me, you can do it in your calculator. 100 times 0.03 is just 3, and then I still have my x. Don't forget your negative, because a negative 100 times a positive 0.6, or a negative 0.6 times a positive 100 is still negative. So 100 times 0.6 moves my decimal place over twice, which means I have to put a 0 there as a placeholder. 100 times 0.6 is going to be 60. Moving my decimal place over twice has to be after that 0 right there. 100 times 0.75 moves my decimal place over twice, becomes 75. Again, if you feel more comfortable doing this in your calculator, just to prove to yourself. Now we're just solving for x. Means we need to get the 60, the negative 60 with the 75. I'm subtracting 60. I need to do the exact opposite of adding 60 to become 0. Whatever I do to the left side, I need to do to the right side. That goes away. I'm left with 3x over here. 75 plus 60, 135. This is being multiplied, so I need to do the exact opposite of multiplication, which is division. If I divide by 3 by that side, I need to divide 3 on that side. That becomes 1x, or I can just write x. So 135 divided by 3, I probably could have did that in my head, but came out to be x is 45. You can check it by putting 45 in for x, and the left side should equal the right side, even if you use the decimals. Okay, let's look at 3D17. Again, we're going to do this to where you get rid of the decimals. Instead of, you can work it with the decimals. Look at each decimal place. Look at how many places you have. Here there's 2, 2, 3. So you need to multiply by a multiple of 10, or that's a, yeah, it's either going to be 10, 100, 1,000. I shouldn't say a multiple of 10 because 50 is a multiple of 10. Either 10, you're either going to be multiplying by 10, 100, 1,000. depending on how many, the most decimal place in this problem is 3. So I can't use 2 because I would only be multiplied by 100, and that means that this would only move 2, and I would still have a decimal in there. That would be 32.5. So I look at the one with the most decimal places, which is 3, and then the one that I would pick over here, 3 decimal places, 3 zeros. So therefore I need to multiply by 1,000. And you can try 10 and 100 and you can see your decimal's not going to go away. But if I multiply each one of these by 1,000, if I multiply 1 by 1,000, I have to multiply everything by 1,000 to balance the equation. So if I multiply this by 1,000, it will move my decimal place over 3 times. If you don't trust me, you can do it in your calculator. So I would go over 1, 2, 3, which means I put a 0 there as a placeholder. And the new decimal will be right there, so that new number will be 830. This one will move 3 times, 1, 2, 3, there'd be a 0 there. That new number would be 40, and don't forget your X. This would move over 3 places, and that would be 325. Now it's just a matter of whole numbers on one side, X's on the other. I need to get this 830 over here with my 325. My 830 is positive, so I need to subtract my 830 in order for it to go away. If I subtract 830 on the left, I need to do it on the right. That goes away over there. I'm left with 40x on the left, and then on the right, that's a positive, that's a negative. You can tell I'm still going to be in debt. So I'm still going to be in debt 505. This 40 is being multiplied to the x, so I need to do the exact opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I divide that 40, I have to divide it to both sides. That becomes a 1x, or just x. And then a negative divided by a positive is still a negative. And I can see that I can reduce both of those by 5. So that would be 101 over 8. And I don't believe I can reduce that anymore. You can also change that into a mixed number if you want. So you can either leave it as an improper fraction or change it to a mixed number, but negative 101 over 8.